So today we're diving into something pretty fundamental. It's something we all deal with,
Yeah.
but often with, I don't know about you, but like a mix of curiosity and sometimes just straight up confusion,
For sure.
you know? And that is how we think about sex, how we feel about it,
Right.
the absolutely vital topic of consent,
Absolutely.
and the big question, how do we actually build those like fulfilling sexual connections?
Mm.
So that's what we're going to be looking at in this deep dive.
Okay.
Our source material is a book called Action, a book about sex.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this book. It's super direct, like it doesn't mess around.
I like how straightforward it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's
Very funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it talks about stuff that you might not expect to be funny.
Right.
And it manages to make it funny.
Like even for someone who's been thinking about this stuff for a while
Yeah.
and writing about it for a while, it still felt like really fresh
Yeah.
and new.
Yeah, it's super refreshing. And I think for you, the listener, you're someone who wants to understand this stuff.
Mm.
You don't want to get bogged down in like a million theories or jargon or whatever. You just want to know like, hey, how does this stuff actually work?
Right.
This deep dive is perfect for that. We go through everything
It really is.
from like understanding consent in everyday moments to figuring out your own boundaries and like why
Right.
good communication is so important, all that stuff.
I think it's really interesting how the author like mixes in their own personal experiences with their thoughts about society at large
Yeah.
to kind of come to these conclusions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super relatable.
I like
Okay,
that.
so one of the first things that I really noticed was the author's feelings about the term, and we hear this all the time,
Yeah.
sex positive.
Right.
And they have a really complicated relationship with that term.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's because when you label a healthy attitude towards sex as sex positive,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it seem like being not sex positive
Right.
is the norm. So it's
Right.
like you're rewarding someone for being healthy
Right.
as opposed to,
Like it should just be the baseline.
yeah,
Yeah.
that this is just how we should think about these things.
Exactly.
But we need this special term to make it seem like it's good,
Right. Right.
which means the other stuff's bad.
It's like giving an award for showing up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the author also says,
Yeah.
the term sex positive can be really useful when you're trying to find specific resources.
Right.
So like if you're looking for a good sex shop,
Yeah.
if you're trying to find a good book on a certain topic, or you're looking for porn,
Yeah.
that's made by people who actually care about the performers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then the term sex positive can kind of help you navigate those waters.
Yeah, it's like a signpost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the book doesn't really use that term all that much.
Right.
I think the author kind of has some reservations about it.
Yeah.
But, I think it's worth thinking about.
Okay, so let's talk about consent.
Yeah.
This is something that this book is so clear on.
Yeah.
It's not just about a yes or no to sex.
Right.
It's really about all those little moments leading up to it.
All the in-between stuff.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
in-between stuff. And the author gives a really powerful example from their own life about why consent is so important, even for something like kissing. You
Yeah.
know? I think it's that moment where the author's thinking like, wait, what is happening? This person's touching me.
Yeah.
And it's that feeling of being taken by surprise, not knowing how to react to unwanted physical touch.
Right.
It's like, this moment where you think, well, I guess I'm attracted to this person. I guess I should just go along with it,
Yeah.
even though something feels a bit off.
And it's hard because in the moment, you don't always know how to react
Yeah.
because maybe there was some initial attraction
Right.
and then it goes too far.
Yeah, exactly. And so consent isn't just like a yes for everything.
Right.
It's this ongoing process of making sure everyone's comfortable and excited about what's happening.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that example of the author being in a relationship where they just asked, do you want to try whatever new thing?
Yeah.
And that led to like some really incredibly fulfilling sex.
Yeah.
That really highlights that,
Yeah.
Open communication can lead to...
All right, better sex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When both people are on the same page
Yeah.
and they feel comfortable asking for what they want.
Comfortable saying no.
And comfortable saying no, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when things can really get good. When,
Okay, but what about those moments where it's not a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if you're hooking up with someone that you don't know super well, or maybe you don't know them at all?
This is where the author stresses, the importance of being really direct
Yeah.
and finding those moments of clear communication.
Yeah.
So even if it feels a little awkward, you got to be able to be like, hey, I'm not really into that.
Right.
Or,
Can we slow down?
yeah, could you do that a little more gently? Or,
Yeah.
something like that.
I loved the story
Yeah.
about the author's friend who just straight up said, "Hey, can you back up a little bit?"
Yeah.
And it worked.
And it worked.
It was just so simple. It was so clear.
It really highlights that you don't have to be aggressive
No.
to get your needs met.
Yeah, exactly. But what if someone's ignoring those requests?
Yeah.
What does the author say about that?
You got to get out of there.
Yeah.
Physically separate yourself.
Yeah.
And if you feel safe,
Yeah.
explain why.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm leaving because you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
And that makes you a jerk.
You're being a jerk. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so another thing that the book talks about is this taboo that we have around talking about sex.
Yeah.
And especially, it seems like, for people who aren't straight men.
Yeah. There's definitely a double standard there.
Yeah.
And the author compares it to that kind of unspoken rule we have about not talking about our salary.
Right.
It kind of keeps things the same.
Exactly.
Keeps the status quo.
Yeah.
Which benefits those who are already in a better position.
Right.
To stay in a better position.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the book brings up Michel Foucault.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this guy?
Yeah.
The repressive hypothesis.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
Yeah. Basically, it's the idea that by constantly saying, oh, society's so repressed when it comes to sex,
Right.
we're actually just perpetuating that repression,
Yeah.
when really what we should be doing is just talking about sex openly and honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it won't be such a big deal.
Yeah, like it becomes the thing we're focusing on
Yeah.
instead of the actual act itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the author goes on to say that when we frame acknowledging that repression as social progress,
Right.
it doesn't actually lead to more meaningful conversations about sex.
Because we're so busy focusing on the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we're scared to actually talk about the good stuff.
Yeah.
The author makes the point that talking about sex can be fun.
It's in every movie.
Yeah.
It's in every TV show.
Exactly.
It's every
in music.
Yeah.
It's all around us. So
Right.
why are we so scared to talk about it in our personal lives?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so next the author talks about this idea of shifting our focus away from being so self-conscious.
Yeah.
Especially in those social situations.
Right.
Or those sexual situations where we get so in our heads.
Right.
Right. Like we overthink things. We're
Yeah.
so worried about what the other person's thinking. And the author uses this analogy of someone being like Hope Diamond of a dime piece.
Yeah.
But they're so busy worrying about messing things up
Yeah.
that they're not actually present in the moment.
Totally.
And they miss out on the opportunity to connect with the other person.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the author's saying hey, shed all that baggage
Yeah.
and just be present.
Yeah.
Be here now.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is you want to connect with this person.
You want to get to know them. You want to kiss them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff is just noise.
It's just in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the author talks about cultivating what they call a vibrant empire of your own life,
Yeah.
focusing on being your authentic self,
Yeah.
engaging with the world,
Yeah.
and, pursuing the things that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Whether that's something huge like, I don't know, jet skiing through a glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something smaller, like building a Lego Seinfeld apartment. It's like, whatever it is that gets you going.
Makes you interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the point is that if you do those things,
You become more interesting.
you'll naturally become more interesting to other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that quote from Chris Ware. The incredible privilege of not knowing what to do with your life.
Yeah.
And it's like that feeling of, oh my God, like I'm so lost.
Yeah.
But the author saying, don't waste it.
Yeah.
Like, don't waste that time on feeling sorry for yourself.
Don't get stuck in that
Yeah.
negativity.
Yeah. Use that to your advantage.
Go explore.
Yeah.
See what's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this idea of engaging with the world really connects to how we connect with other people.
Yeah.
And one of the things the author talks about is eye contact,
Uh-huh.
right? And this idea of making really strong eye contact with people.
Borderline severe eye contact.
Yeah, borderline severe eye contact.
But the key is to be able to tell the difference
Right.
between that kind of engaged attention and just staring.
Creepy staring.
Yeah.
Right, so like if the other person is talking, you're having a conversation, they're interested,
Yeah.
then you're golden.
You're golden.
But if they look away, it's time to back off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is the author's saying that most people actually really like this prolonged eye contact.
Yeah.
It makes them feel heard,
It makes them feel like you're really listening to them.
like Bill Clinton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton was famous for his charm.
Yeah.
And a lot of that had to do with his ability to make people feel like,
They were the only person in the room.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, the author suggests asking people what they think the best thing in the world is.
Yeah.
It's a great conversation starter.
Makes them feel heard.
And it also gives you a little insight into their values.
You learn something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't lead to a romantic connection,
Yeah.
you've still made someone feel heard,
Made a friend.
made a friend.
Learn something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then the book talks about, this idea of understanding why you believe the things you do,
Right.
but also being open to different perspectives,
Yeah.
not being pig-headed about it.
Don't get stuck in your own ways.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the author says if you decide you're right about everything, it shuts you off to learning.
Limits you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really limits your ability to connect with other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're not open to the possibility that you might be wrong,
Yeah.
then you're not really listening.
You can't connect with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the author says we should treat others as if they're intelligent enough to understand our differences
Right.
and respect them for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about self-care.
Okay.
Because this book really emphasizes how important it is to take care of yourself,
Yeah.
both physically
Mm-hmm.
and mentally.
Yes.
And it says that that's your primary responsibility
It's the most important thing you can do.
in life
Yeah.
and in your sex life.
Totally.
Yeah. And the author's really open about their own struggles,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the constant reminders to drink water,
Yeah.
back and forth with smoking,
Yeah.
trying out different supplements, needing to take medication,
Yeah.
battling that sugar dragon.
I know. And I think it's really great that the author talks about this stuff openly because it makes it feel,
Relatable.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not just some unattainable ideal.
Yeah.
It's something that we all struggle with.
We're all works in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the books, like really encouraging about seeking mental health help
Yes.
and medical help when you need it.
Absolutely.
And especially, now there are so many more resources for people who are, low income or
Yes.
uninsured.
It's great that that stuff's becoming more available.
Way more available. Yeah.
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 It's really important.
Because at the end of the day, if you neglect your health,
Yeah.
it's like you're sending this message of, like, I don't care about myself.
Right?
And that can be really off-putting.
It's palpable. It's
Yeah.
like people can sense that.
Totally.
And it's not attractive.
Yeah. Okay, so this idea of taking care of yourself, it really ties into relationships too, right?
Yeah.
And the author gives this really good piece of advice. Don't expect perfection
Yeah.
from everyone.
Don't go into things thinking that people are going to be perfect
Right.
because they're not.
They're not.
They're all messy.
It just sets you up for disappointment.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you end up lonely.
Yeah.
You end up bitter.
Bitter.
Yeah. I love the story the author tells about barbecues.
Yeah.
Like once they stopped treating friendships like a military drill,
Yeah.
they actually enjoyed the barbecues way more.
Yeah.
It's like, just relax.
Right.
Accept people as they are.
Except the flaws.
Enjoy the company.
Exactly. Okay, so now let's talk about flirting.
Okay.
So the book actually has a really interesting definition of flirting.
What is it?
It's not like, some kind of calculated strategic game to get someone's attention.
Oh.
It's noticing and communicating the shimmering qualities of each of life's entities.
Ooh.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's like,
Much more expansive.
it is. Like,
Yeah.
it's noticing what's beautiful and special about every person you meet
Yeah.
and letting them know.
Yeah.
And I really like the examples that the author gives.
Like what?
It's stuff like, complimenting someone on their acrylic nails,
Right.
acknowledging the male person's effort,
Yeah.
giving a little smile to the person at the DMV who's helping you out,
Right.
And it's even like noticing the way the sun hits a building.
It's about finding beauty in the everyday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the author says, go everywhere as a
Yeah.
way to meet people. And they're not even saying like, you have to go out looking for a romantic partner.
Right.
Just go out, experience the world, and you never know who you'll meet.
Yeah.
Like the author talks about unwittingly scoring at like costume parties and conferences,
Right.
lectures, raves. It's
Yeah.
like you never know where you're going to connect with someone.
Exactly.
So then the book has this whole section on this idea of become small deluxe.
Yeah.
And they use Beyonce's Sasha Fierce
Right.
as an example.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a great example.
Yeah.
It's about consciously deciding to embody
Yeah.
a more confident version of yourself.
Right.
Or even an alternate version of yourself
Yeah.
when you need
Yeah.
to handle a certain situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And Beyonce did that with Sasha Fierce.
Yeah.
You know, she created this persona for her stage performances.
Right.
And it allowed her to tap into a different part of herself.
Yeah. I like the connection the author makes to drag queens.
Yeah.
And RuPaul.
Yeah.
You know, this idea of charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
CUNT.
Yeah.
It's all about being able to perform different aspects of yourself.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that can be really helpful.
Totally.
Especially when it comes to social interactions and sexual interactions.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about work.
Okay.
So the book is really big on this idea of self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
And it says that self-sufficiency is the sexiest thing.
No matter what you do.
No matter what you do.
Do it well.
Yeah.
And that will build your confidence.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the author's really realistic
Yeah.
about, like, sometimes we're not in our dream jobs.
Right.
Right.
It's okay.
It's totally fine.
Find something that brings in income.
Yeah.
Build your skills.
While you're figuring things out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't get stuck in creative meandering
Right.
without any kind of financial support.
Yeah, find a job. Pay your bills.
Yeah.
And the author's own experiences, you know, they had a ton of different jobs
Yeah.
before they got to where they are now.
Yeah.
And it's like all those experiences taught them something.
Yeah.
You know?
They learned valuable skills.
Yeah, leading to that, you know?
Work builds character.
Work builds character. It's so true.
It is.
And that kind of ties into this idea of finding joy
Yeah.
in the mundane stuff.
In the everyday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like choose to see those tasks as parties or non-annoyances.
You know, the author talks about David Foster Wallace.
Yeah.
This is water.
Yeah.
And how we can choose to experience even the most frustrating situations
Yeah.
with a sense of compassion
Yeah.
and recognize the interconnectedness of all things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, even if you're stuck in traffic,
Yeah.
even if you're at the DMV, you can still find something beautiful about that experience.
Yeah.
You know, you can still find a way to connect with the people around you.
And it's attractive,
It is.
that perspective.
It is.
It is
It
attractive.
makes you more interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The author says, don't complain
Yeah.
unless it's with a close friend
Right.
where you've like mutually agreed that that's your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're both complaining together.
Right.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you know, try to see those annoyances as meaningful
Yeah.
in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it all leads to that great principle, life rules,
Yeah.
which isn't about being fake positive.
Right.
It's about finding those things that make you feel alive
Exactly.
and prioritizing them.
And once you do that, you'll attract the right people.
Yeah. Like attracts like.
Exactly. Okay, so the next section is from the inside out, and it talks about how to approach connections with intention. So like if you see someone that you think is hot,
Yeah.
you should just go up to them and try to start a conversation.
Yeah. Right.
Don't be afraid of rejection.
The book says, rejection is just the universe's protection.
I love that.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, if someone rejects you, it's not personal.
Right.
It's just that you weren't meant to be together.
It wasn't the right fit.
Yeah, it's not a reflection on you.
Yeah.
It's just not the right fit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the author really stresses that you should always be respectful
of course.
and well-intentioned.
Yeah,
You know, even if you're rejected,
yeah,
you should still be polite
yeah, absolutely.
because you never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's this whole section on winking.
Winking.
I know, right? Winking.
What about it?
I know, but the author loves winking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
They say it's harmless and equal parts coy and magnetic.
Interesting.
I know. And they've even had success with it.
Yeah. And it's like nowadays it's so hard to tell if someone's being friendly or flirty.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
It's a weird zone.
Yeah.
So the author's like, just be direct.
Yeah.
Just say what you mean.
I'm into you.
I think you're cute or
Yeah,
whatever.
the author says that that can actually be a huge relief for the other person.
Of course.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I know where I stand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the author says that being direct actually makes you more attractive
Oh, totally.
because it shows that you're confident.
Yeah, you're not playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that little story about meeting someone through a mutual friend
Uh-huh.
and just being remembered positively for asking how they were and then actually listening.
Yeah, it's so simple,
It's so simple.
but it's so powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference.
It makes people feel seen.
Yeah.
Makes them feel heard.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're having a conversation with someone,
Yeah.
it's good to be playful.